Mafio soul, Mafio soul,
Yeah, this is the Gangster Movie Guru podcast. I'm your host, KingNABI. I am the Gangster Movie Guru. This is a bit of a special episode. Typically, I just go in and go in depth on gangster movie classics in the gangster movie genre. And this film isn't necessarily a gangster movie. However, it's a movie about a legend, a man who epitomized not really gangster as, as defined by the gangsters that are covered in a lot of the films that I've gone in on. However, he's revolutionary but gangster. I first heard Dead Prez say that term, RBG. Tupac Shakur defined RBG. He defined revolutionary but gangster. And being that this movie has been so polarizing in the short time that it's been in theaters, I just wanted to give my feelings and let y'all know how the Gangster Movie Guru feels about this film. Now, from Jump Street, I understand that, people have had issue with this film. I haven't really kept up with the blogs and with the social media, gossip columns and all those type of things. So I tried to not to pay attention to any reviews prior to seeing a film because I don't want to be biased going into the film. I want to go in with a clear mind and develop my own opinion on it. And with this film, just to start off, I have to say that it depicted Tupac's life they did a magnificent job of depicting Tupac's life as far as where he came from, him coming up, and him all the way leading up to his death. It didn't just show the shell of Pac that, that people see or that the media has depicted as this wild thug life dude that's, unpredictable. We don't know if he's going to be happy or sad. We don't know if he's going to spit at cameras or drop some knowledge. It really gave the meaning behind or the reason behind why he's the person that he is and why he wasn't a gangster, but he was actually a revolutionary. And in being a revolutionary in the United States of America, you got to get into some gangster shit. This country was built on gangster shit. So in order to revolt, at some point, you've got to hit people with that same type of vibe, that same type of emotion, that same type of feel, that same type of tone. And that's what Tupac did throughout his life. And of course, he was a human being, so, he did get around when he wanted to get around and things of that nature. But at the same time, he was on some, keep your head up, Brenda's got a baby. We all know that. If you're a person such as myself who grew up on Pac, I was a teenager when Tupac was murdered, was assassinated. And, everything in this film, I was happy with how they told the story. I can't be mad. They showed the relationship with his mother, with his sister, with different women throughout his life, and I'll get to that in a second because that's kind of the underlying theme of this film is his relationship with women. But I wasn't mad. It didn't depict him in any kind of negative light. It actually raised him up, as the God that he is, and I'm not mad at that. I know we've heard Jada Pinkett say that certain things about their relationship were fictional, that he didn't really write her that letter, that they didn't have an argument in the club. And that's one thing about these films, about biopics or any film that's based on a true story. As long as it's a narrative film, I just want y'all to know it's not a true story, okay? It may be based on it, but that's why they say based on, and they don't say this is a true story, because they take creative license. They may do certain things with the story, add certain things here, take certain things away, just to make it more entertaining or to really bring a point home. And in this case, I think with his relationship with Jada Pinkett, in my humble opinion, they did that to bring home the fact that Pac loved women and that he loved them for more than just their bodies. He loved them for their minds, for their spirits. He loved them because not only do they give us life, however, they also enhance our life later on down the line when we choose a partner that's right for us and things of that nature. So I think that that's what they did with his relationship with Jada. They just wanted to create that brother and sister type of relationship between them so that you could understand more that so that you can have a greater understanding of how Pac really felt about women and how important women were in his life. And if anything, that's the largest thing that I took from this film, was that the, you know, aside from Tupac's story, which many of us may know, if you know his story when you're watching the movie, you're not going to be surprised by anything really. There's nothing that's going to surprise you or be like, oh shit, I didn't know that. You know, there's none of those moments really in the film. I can say that. However, the underlying message of the film hit me hard, which is the black woman is salvation. Whether it was his mother, you know, he had a turbulent relationship with his mother at times because of things that she was doing, but even when it was bad, she motivated him to want to go out on his own because of the turmoil that was happening at home. When he was locked up, she was there for him, dear mama. She was his salvation. Jada Pinkett, she was a queen to him, a woman who he loved, not even in a physical or sexual manner, but just loved her for the goddess that was in her. He saw the goddess inside of her. That was a great thing. That's another thing that showed, you know, woman is a salvation. His sister, he looked out for his sister all the time. When you come back later, even the woman who did him dirty, if you will, and spread the rumor about him, or caught him up in the rape charge, he still came back after that and made keep your head up, because he understood what she was going through. He didn't let that get to him, and he still realized that the overall scope of woman, that women need, you know, that motivation. And that's something that you didn't see from a man in hip-hop music pretty much at all, especially a man of his stature, to speak to women, not just bigging them up for being beautiful, but actually telling their story and speaking for them, with Brenda's Got a Baby, for instance. That's a story that you don't hear from a man, and Tupac did that. And that's really the underlying tone of the story that I loved, is that the black woman is salvation. Women in general are salvation. They're extremely important. They give us life. And then once we get with them later on in life, as he did with Kidada Jones, with Quincy Jones's daughter, they enhance her life. She enhanced his health. She put him in a different mind state. And really, she would have been his salvation, you know, assuming that that part is true, that he had the choice between staying with her in the hotel or leaving in Vegas, in which he did leave and go to the club, and of course he was assassinated. She would have been his salvation in that time too. So I mean, I think that Benny Boom did a great job of depicting Pac's life, of giving us that lesson within the lines, in between the lines of the story. I can see some of the criticism as far as maybe the quality in certain points, like you have, for instance, Snoop Dogg's character, whose voice was totally overdubbed by the real Snoop. If that's not the real Snoop dubbing over his voice, then then that man did the greatest Snoop impersonation I've ever heard in my life. But I'm pretty sure that they dubbed Snoop's voice in. So there were certain things that, like, if you compare it to Straight Outta Compton, you can say, okay, this isn't a high budget film. You know, this isn't a film with a huge budget. It's not a film with the budget of Straight Outta Compton. However, they did their thing with the budget that they had. There weren't too many controversial moments in the movie, aside from the controversy that Tupac's life obviously brings to the table. There wasn't anything that you said, you know, oh my gosh, about, or I didn't know that, you know, unless you actually didn't know that. But there wasn't, you know, they didn't take too many risks going into a story. They pretty much showed him in a great light, in a grand light, which I loved about it. I didn't think that you had to do that. However, I just think that this film just fell into the trap of that any film would have when you're doing a biopic on such an iconic legend who's still fresh in the minds of the people. Yeah, he died 21 years ago. However, 21 years ago isn't that long when you have a man who put out, you know, new music 10 years, you know, past 10 years after his death. You know what I'm saying? And who people who were 4 or 5 years old, who weren't even born when he was assassinated, those people still speak of Pac like they knew him just off of his music and off his words. When it's a person that's that powerful, it's difficult, you know, it's difficult for people to swallow that all the time. And I think that that's just what this movie has, the trap that this movie has fallen into as far as the critical response. Demetrius Shipp Jr., the man who played Pac, I feel like he did an excellent job catching the spirit of Pac. You know, I know it's extremely difficult to try and play a character that's so iconic and so legendary. The only thing I'll take away is his voice didn't exactly match Pac, which, you know, in this day and time may throw you off slightly due because Pac's voice is so fresh in our head. But as far as catching the spirit of Pac, catching the life of Pac in his eyes, I feel that he did that. Denai Gurira, she's going to be in the Black Panther movie. She played Afeni Shakur, Tupac's mother. She did an excellent job, a great job of playing the arc of Afeni through the you know, her being a strong Black Panther, to her addictions, to her coming back strong again. Did a great job. Cat Graham played Jada Pinkett. That's another hard one to play, being that Jada Pinkett is still, you know, relevant in our time and still a major actress. If it's not exactly her, you know, people may have an issue or it may be hard for people to grasp. But she still did a great job playing that character. Hill Harper, a notable actor, played the interviewer. Keith Robinson, who I believe this is his first time acting, played Atron, Tupac's manager, did a great job. Jamal Willard came back and played Biggie again. I like how they actually depicted that issue too. You know, they didn't take anything away from Big. They didn't take anything away from Pac. You could see the miscommunication and the misunderstanding in that situation. You had, you know, Jamie Hector, some notable actors. Jamie Hector played Mutulu Shakur, Pac's stepfather, you know, the revolutionary Black Panther. He played him, did a great job. Of course, we know Jamie Hector, he has a new show out now. And of course, he was Marlo in The Wire. Clifton Powell, you already know Clifton Powell, a legendary actor from Washington, D.C., legendary character actor, been in plenty of classic movies. He played the OG in Jail. There were some rappers in the movie. I mean, you had D-Ray in the movie, the comedian, and of course you had, you know, Mano was in the movie. You had EDI, Young Noble from the Outlaws were also in the film. You had Blue Da Vinci was in the film. So, you know, it was you know, even Deshaun Jackson, excuse me, was in the film as well. So a nice cast of characters, a lot of recognizable people in the film. As my final thoughts, I just say that the Pac movie, it didn't do anything that would surprise people, if you know, especially if you know about his life. There's nothing in there that'll surprise you or shock you. It's a pretty straightforward movie. It's, you know, centered around the interview basically that he's having while he's in prison, and then they kind of, you know, depict each situation that he's speaking on in the interview until he gets out of jail, and then, you know, goes to death row and all that after that. But overall, it did great as far as showing respect to Pac's life, as far as raising him up as the god he is, showing that he's revolutionary but gangster, that the revolutionary spirit was definitely alive and well in him, and that was his purpose, you know, on this earth, for his words to affect us the way that they did and the way that they have done. They transcended time, obviously. Quality wise, I'd say that it was directed great. There were some characters here and there that may have been slightly off, you know, performance wise, you know, not too bad, but just the characters that they were playing are so iconic that it, you know, unless they're exactly like them, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's hard to, you know, sometimes it may take you out slightly, but not really that bad. And really big ups to Demetrius Shipp Jr. for doing great as Pac. He's got a bright career ahead of him. You know, a great actor, Denai Gurira, Cat Graham, you know, great job acting. I can't wait to see Denai in the Black Panther movie. And I just tell everybody, you know, I'm not a movie critic, so I'm not going to give a rating or anything like that, but I just tell everybody, go watch the movie, go see it, support, you know, support independent film, support black film, support this movie, come up with your own opinion of it. Don't listen to social media. Don't listen to all these people out there that's talking what they want to talk about it. Some of them have, you know, personal reasons like Jada, which I can understand, but don't let that take away from the movie. It was a quality film. Go out there, support the film, see it. If you can't, you know, get to the movies, then see it however you can see it, but definitely watch the film. And I just, you know, hope that people are able to enjoy this, and that, you know, maybe later on down the line, 20 years from now, we can have maybe another biopic, and people will be able to separate themselves from the actual man and just watch the movie and enjoy it for the knowledge that it gives you and for the further insight it gives you regarding his life. So yeah, once again, peace and blessings. This is the Gangsta Movie Guru, Kwaku KingNABI. I appreciate everybody who has liked, subscribed, and viewed, or who has even liked my post on Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, whatever the case may be. I appreciate you all for for the support. And I just ask that you continue to support. Please like, please subscribe, please check out my podcast episodes when you get a chance. And leave down in the comment section, let me know how you felt about All Eyez on Me. Leave it in the comments, leave it wherever on the social medias. That'll all be down below. Much love, peace, and I'm out.
Mafioso, mafioso, mafioso.